So today I wanted to talk about ghosting in relationships. And have you ever been the victim of somebody who ghosted you, or have you ghosted someone? A few years ago, I had a friend that I hung out with a lot, and she was very demanding and very kind of manipulative. Back then, I didn't even know what boundaries were, but I know that whenever she would text me or email me, I would get a stomach ache. And that's very telling, which I mentioned on another video that I did. It's very telling if you constantly get a stomach ache. It means there's something not right. And so I actually went to therapy for a while, and she told me to just break off communication with her because I was going week after week just upset. And I wondered what was wrong with me, and there was nothing wrong with me. So anyway, I've ghosted and I've had people ghost me. And there's reasons for that. So today I want to talk about ghosting in relationships. And I wanted to ask you, do you feel a little neglected because your family, friends, or neighbors consistently fail to make time for you? And when you do manage to communicate with them, do they tell you how busy they are? Or maybe they rarely reach out to see how you're doing? Or maybe they don't return texts, emails, or phone calls, or perhaps they keep canceling plans with you. Well, if that's the case, I've got news for you. You're not on their priority list. If loved ones rarely reach out to you, it might be best to follow suit and stop prioritizing your life around these same individuals. And in the words of Maya Angelou, never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option. If someone consistently demonstrates a lack of effort, engagement, or availability, it's important to acknowledge reality instead of rationalizing or justifying their behavior. So why do people hold on to people that don't make time for them? Well, even with minimal interactions, some hold on to relationships to avoid loneliness or because they hold sentimental value. Maybe they share past experiences, or they might want to avoid potential awkwardness in a chance encounter. When the obvious writing is on the wall, it might be best to face reality and lower your expectations of it ever being anything more than it is. Easier said than done, right? So again, we've all heard about the term ghosting, but just what is it? I remember that we used to be part of this group who had a lot of house parties. And we would go to these house parties. They're fun. Same people showed up. But there was this one couple that we would interact with at the party. And then a couple hours later, they were just gone. They'd vanished. So they just disappeared without saying goodbye. And we're like, where are they? And then we thought, are they in the other room? And they did this every time. And so I looked it up at that time. I thought there must be a name for this. And it was called ghosting. Ghosting doesn't just happen at parties. It also happens in friendships, families, and romantic relationships when someone either suddenly and permanently leaves your life with no explanation, or they can also gradually distance themselves until they're no longer communicating with you. And there's no fighting, arguing, formal goodbyes, or breakups. They just disappear. This can leave you with unanswered questions and feelings of confusion, of course. When you experience ghosting, when you've been ghosted, the other person has their own reasons, like differing priorities, values, interests, and lifestyles. Everydaypower.com says that some people fear commitment, others fear a risk, and others may be experiencing mental health symptoms that do not allow them to be emotionally involved with another. When a person gets ghosted, they need to remember that being ghosted is not a reflection of who they are. Many times it is the person who did the ghosting who has a limited belief system to work through. Yes, it's hurtful, but it's important to recognize that silence itself communicates a message. Practicing acceptance and letting go can be rough, and it can take a while to sort out. It's important to validate feelings of hurt, disappointment, and frustration and let those feelings flow through you. Don't hold them in. Realize that no matter how hard you try, you can't control another's actions. And think about it. Do you really want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you? As the saying goes, when one door closes, another opens. I have found that to be true. But you got to let go of those people who've ghosted you. Many times we discover that when people ghost us, it's a blessing in disguise and should have happened much sooner. I actually did have that happen to me a few years ago. And after I really thought about it, I thought, oh my gosh, I should have let this go a very long time ago, because you know what? We didn't have anything in common at all. And it was very hard to plan things because I just didn't want to go. So sometimes, again, it's a blessing in disguise. Fixating on your own actions that might have led to ghosting can keep you from moving on. You always think, oh, what did I do wrong? How can I fix this? No, it keeps you from moving on. Just accept the fact that they've ghosted you, they're gone, and think of how you can move on. And seeking therapy for guidance and coping strategies could be beneficial if you're struggling to let go. For Ray's Cause says, some people are going to leave, but that's not the end of your story. That's the end of their part in your story. I love that quote. What if you use each of those relationships as a learning experience toward personal growth? Here are some questions to ponder. What did I learn about relationships based on this experience? What did I learn about myself based on this experience? How can I establish better boundaries next time? What are my values and how can I better align with them? And also you can find a blog post that I did, focusyourtime.com/values, if you want to read more about values and how to figure out what your values are. How can I prioritize my own well-being? Did the relationship energize me or not so much? Maybe spend some quality time thoughtfully answering each of these questions in a journal. Doing so offers a kind of self-reflection process and allows you to gain insight into your own relationship patterns, which enhances self-awareness and identifies areas needed for personal growth. By using your situation as a learning experience and recognizing the importance of boundaries, values, and your own well-being, you can make more informed decisions, fostering healthier relationships and a stronger sense of self. Taking time to reflect on past relationships and identifying recurring behaviors that may have led to incompatibility is crucial. And you could also use this time to think about cultivating new, like-minded connections that serve you. I created a connection checklist, which can be a helpful tool that will allow you to align with your values. You can read about it on the blog posts that goes with this video. Creating a connection checklist can be a valuable tool that allows you to be more in alignment with your values. So, back in the day, I used to join groups that focused on casual eating, drinking, and chatting. But these interactions often lack the depth needed for real connections to form, and these encounters resulted in shallow relationships that didn't meet my needs, and connections lacked fulfillment. Many times I hung out with people who I had almost nothing in common with and spent years forcing these relationships to work. Once I started meeting like-minded individuals, it made life a whole lot easier. Meaningful connections thrive when there's a shared purpose, passion, or interest that brings people together. Engaging in activities that provide opportunities for learning or creating something together can help foster more fulfilling relationships. Incorporating genuine interest into social interactions are less likely to result in disappointment or future ghosting. When people engage in activities solely for the purpose of meeting others, without a true passion for the activity itself, it may feel forced, superficial, and more difficult to connect on a deeper level. This, of course, can lead to disappointment as people realize that their interactions lack authenticity. So, if your relationships aren't what you hope for, be open to meeting new, like-minded people who share your interests and values, and invest in those who bring positivity and fulfillment to your life. That's all I have today. If you're looking to improve conversations in your current relationships, please visit focusyourtime.com better-conversations. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.